This afternoon, our chief political correspondent, Candy Crowley, interviewed President Obama and asked him if he stood by his original remarks about Sony. Candy joins me now. So, Candy, what a strange day. The president takes a swipe at Sony during his news conference. Then the head of Sony Pictures right here on CNN kind of swipes back, suggesting the president doesn't really understand the situation. Now, you've had a chance to speak to the president about that. What was his response?
Well, I will tell you, first of all, that it was very clear to me the president did not want to get into an argument with the chairman of Sony. But what he said was, listen, I wish... I told him that the chairman had said that he was disappointed in the president's response, that the president didn't really understand what had happened, that really that this was a decision that Sony wanted to distribute this, but it was that the movie theaters that didn't want it. And the president said, well, maybe if he'd come to me, I could have called the movie theaters. But he stuck to his original point, which was, this is just a bad thing to be doing. I mean, this is the wrong thing to be doing in the face of these threats. We need to stay strong as the Boston Marathon did, et cetera, et cetera. He said, listen, what if this happened to CNN? What if there was, CNN ran some story and there was a threat from North Korea? You can't allow this sort of thing to make America different. It was sort of everything we always said after 9/11. You know, the terrorists will win if we have to change, that kind of thing. So he stuck to his major point, but I thought he was softer on Sony and really just didn't want to get into a fight with him.
Not the fight he wants to be in heading into his
right.
Hawaii holiday.
Exactly. He was ready.
Did you get any sense from him about what the next step is, though, in dealing with North Korea? Any big announcement heading our way?
You know, I would suggest we might not get a big announcement, and here's why. I asked him if he thought that this was an act of war, that this was an act of cyber terrorism and an act of war, and he said no. He said it's an act of cyber vandalism. I think that will send some Republicans off the edge, but it seemed to me to kind of sort of tamp it down a little. And I said, well, why wouldn't we just do a cyber attack back? Or well, why don't we put them back on the list of countries that sponsor terrorism? And he said, well, we're looking at that. But he didn't want to talk about what it might be. And as you know, the White House has signaled that perhaps the U.S. would not say what it would do.
Covering it cyber vandalism, though, instead of terror. Clearly trying to lower the temperature on the issue. That was interesting. Now, one thing a lot of people noticed during the news conference today, all the reporters that the president called on were women. I actually didn't notice until someone pointed it out to me, but what was the message you think that the White House was trying to send?
I didn't either, but I mean, the White House says that you know, what it was trying to say was, look, there was all these women here who day in and day out cover this place, and so you know, we wanted the president to call on them, and that it was, you know, indeed a message and a sort of an homage, if you will, to their hard work.
They were all just great reporters, as far as I'm concerned. And on the subject of great reporters, Candy's interview with President Obama on Sunday will be on State of the Union. It is sort of the grand finale for Candy on State of the Union. And Candy, you know, I've covered campaigns with you and competition with you, and now I've had the wonderful opportunity to work in the same company as you, and you are one of the sharpest reporters out there, and certainly the classiest. So thank you for everything.
John, thank you very much. I'll miss you, but I'll watch.
Thanks, Candy.